The following story is just one example of the research and recovery going on at the Manitoba Institute of Child Health. It's also an example of the growing need for research and treatment of pediatric disease. Right now, the Be My Hero capital campaign is working to double its capacity for pediatric research and enhance its ability to field clinical research trials. That means more Manitoba-made solutions that impact our children here and all over the world. Everyday doctors and researchers right here in Winnipeg are easing suffering, saving lives, and searching for a cure. To the children they help, they are heroes. You can be a hero too. For more information, go to www.bemyhero.ca.
They said not to worry about it, that some kids walk as late as 2.
1 year ago, Bella wasn't mastering the jungle gym like she is today.
She was a late walker, but when she did start walking, you could tell something was uncomfortable with her. She wanted to be carried a lot. She just wasn't keeping up with how other kids were kind of at that age.
It was time for Bella to see a specialist.
Okay, well, I got to follow Bella too.
Remember last time? We're going to make big. Excellent. Great. Now we're going to bend. We're going to do the same. Big. She's doing great, huh? Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Dr. Virginie Paulette's specialty is developmental dysplasia of the hip, or DDH. In this case, the reason Bella wasn't walking the same as other kids was because she was suffering from one of the most severe forms.
If this is the front of the hip, okay, this is the back, and this is normally how the hip sits in, then in her case, the hip was not making any contact, but was actually sitting higher and more in the back.
Yeah, so Bella's parents were faced with 2 treatment options, both aimed at bringing Bella's hip back into place.
Normally a 2-year-old child with that type of hip, what she had, it most likely would be we call it an osteotomy, where you cut the femur and you shorten the femur. So you bring it at the level of the socket, and then what you have to do is you have to open the joint to bring actually the hip back in place, and then you tie the capsule around it, and then you put a big cast around it at the same time, which is quite a bit of surgery. Blood loss and quite risky. There's plates and screws involved, so it's much more extensive surgery.
A second option meant no surgery for Bella, but relied on traction.
A 2-year-old putting in traction, we're thinking, is this really what we think it will be, like traction where they're strapped into a bed and with pulleys and whatnot, and it was, but what she let us think on it.
In Bella's case, Dr. Paulette favored traction over the surgery, but that method can be a tough sell.
We had made our decision that we thought we were going to do the surgery because it seemed like it was going to be, less stressful for us and whatnot, but she had, again, kind of recommended that traction would be the way to go for her. So she assured us that if it didn't go well, that she would go with Plan B immediately. As long as Bella tolerated it, she would do the traction, and she did fantastic with it.
So the advantage of the treatment that Bella got is that it's a very non-invasive treatment where you progressively over a period of 4 weeks with a traction treatment in the hospital, unfortunately, but you bring the hip very slowly back in its place, and once that's back in place, you basically have no surgery involved. All the tension on the muscles around it are actually decreased because of the fact that you had that progressive reduction, and then you put a cast on. So she basically got the whole same procedure done, but without any surgery.
Because it's a developmental disease, Bella is not completely out of the woods. Dr. Paulette will continue to monitor as she grows to make sure that hip stays where it should be.
I'm always very unhappy when I see a child as Bella walking and limping with one leg shorter than the other one because the hip is not in place. And it's such a simple thing to avoid if you just can detect it at an early age.
Okay. Yeah.
Ideally, Dr. Paulette wants to see babies with DDH between 6 weeks and 3 months. At that point, a pelvic harness provides a simple and effective treatment.
It's an outpatient treatment, so the patient gets it, goes home with it. There's no hospitalization. It's a very non-invasive treatment, and there's about a 95% chance that his hip will be completely normal after the treatment. So we like to see them at a very young age.
The problem is many caregivers are not screening properly for DDH. Dr. Paulette's team of researchers are looking at who is most at risk. It could be genetics. It could even come down to how much room larger babies or twins have inside the womb. As for who can overcome the challenge of DDH, Bella is the perfect example.
Good job. She doesn't have any reservation. I mean, when she's running alongside other kids, I mean, she's still a little bit slower. You can tell that, you know, she's moving a little bit differently. It's not maybe the same movement that another child her age would have, but she keeps up and she's great with it, and she has such a good spirit. It's just fantastic. So she's my little hero.
DDH affects 1 in 1,000, but here in Manitoba, the incidence is higher. Researchers like Dr. Paulette at the Manitoba Institute of Child Health are working to understand why and how to protect kids like Bella in the future. For Shaw TV, I'm Kim Kasher.
Is that fun?
Yeah, very fun.